Every year, Uganda joins the world within the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And of course, us being partners with this kind of activism, we decided to hit the streets and bring you the different thoughts from different people about what it takes to fight this gender-based violence. All you need to do is walk with me to the streets as we find out what different people have to say about this gender-based violence. Now we're going to talk about something to do with community. Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Where do you come from? Where do you live, first and foremost?
I stay in Seta.
Seta. On a scale of 10, how do you think all the girls in Seta actually go to school?
On a scale of 10, not exactly. I think on a scale of 10, 6. 6, yeah.
What do you think are some of the factors that affect these other four that stop them from going to school? The girl children, of course.
Of course, they end up doing child labor and engaging in other, engaging in other activities, all behaviors that are not good for the society. Parents believe that male children, they deserve education more than the girls. And hence, the girls end up getting married, early marriages, or, not going to school at all, basically.
I'm sure you've stayed in Seta for a couple of months now. Who do you think is largely responsible for these girl children not being able to attend school? The 4 out of 10 that you talked about.
Finances, that's the first thing. Like the schools are quite expensive these days, my goodness. And the parents find it so hard to to cater for both the girl and the boys, and they would prefer that the boys go to school. So the finances are really heavy on them. Then the other thing is just the girls, I think it's just a mental or psychological or they just think that girls they are meant to do home things, homemakers. So what's the school for? So they end up not taking the girls to school at all.
What do you think are some of the benefits or some of the good things that come along with taking girls to school?
Taking girls to school is the best investment anyone can make, like the community can make, because girls, women, we are more compassionate compared to the men, and we can do a lot of economic development and community developing programs. And also girls, we are so self-driven. We are proprietors, we can start businesses. Girls are so innovative. Even when you go to homes, a lady can actually budget for the money better than the guy.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. What's your name?
Rita.
Rita, what do you think are some of the reasons as to why somewhere, girl children never tend to finish their school?
Well, girl children usually don't finish their school because of so many reasons, them being a vulnerable group already, there are so many factors. First of all, poverty. Most families out there, especially in the rural areas or the villages, they are very poor and they cannot handle the the amount of money that schools request for. So as a result, the parents just give up and they're like, it's a girl child. They'll end up getting married at some time. So since I don't have the money, let them just wait and get married.
Who do you think is to blame for this vulnerability? Is it the kids, the girl children, or the parents?
Definitely can't be the girl child herself. She's the vulnerable one, so she can't be blamed. Okay. It's definitely the society and sometimes the parents that makes them vulnerable and, leads to them not finishing their education. And then maybe some parents also force them to go for early marriages, especially in the villages still. We see a lot of stories even on the news, in the papers, girl children before they even make 18. Others are taken for marriage even at the age of 14, 13, and they are forced into marriages with very old men, you understand? So if you're married, then in most cases, and you're in the village, you just can't continue with your education. So that's where they stop. Quite
interesting. Now let us talk about a scenario where this girl student gets pregnant. Do you think she could actually continue with her studies from a personal point of view?
From my personal point of view, I would say it depends. Because if you have relatives or parents that are really supportive, you could still give birth and then go back to school. That is if your mother or your father or your relatives, your sisters or whatever, are supportive. Let me say they encourage you, they tell you it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of it all, you can still wait for the 9 months, give birth and then go back to school. If they're willing to pay for you again, then yeah, I think they can be able to complete.
I feel bad because I'm a girl. If I see my fellow girl not going to school, it doesn't make me feel good because I'm also a girl and I put myself in that shoes. If it was me in that girl's position, what would I do? So I'll go to the parent and take the girl so we can talk to the parent as me myself. I take the girl, then we talk to the parent. If not, I can ask my mom, can't we, if we have the money, enough money, can't we help that girl to go to school? Because she still wants to study.
What are some of the benefits do you think these girls have once they complete their education?
When you complete our education, people will admire us. Because these days, they take us for granted because we are girls. But if we get chances to study and complete, we'll become very important in this country. And people will not take us as we are for granted. We shall have the right to stand for ourselves. We will also get the jobs which fits us, and not these jobs of selling what on roads.
And of course, no one does it like I do it. And it's about that time we get to talk to some of our celebrities about what they think when it gets to gender-based violence. Let's check this out.
The conversation continues here on SKIZZY. We're discussing one of the biggest topics affecting our youth, and it's called gender-based violence. For some people, they like to, make it short, GBV, but gender-based violence in general is just a situation that our society is facing, wherein the genders are not balanced. There's an imbalance in opportunities. There's an imbalance in the way we treat people. For some people, it becomes physical. They say the fairer sex is women and the stronger sex is men. That's the stereotype that we live with. But it also expands, other aspects of life. It could be education. It could be, the girls getting less when they get to, HAC. It could be, a woman not earning as much as a man, even though they do the same job. It could be so many other things that deny the females the opportunity to compete with the males in this society that we live in. And joining me on the show today, we're going to discuss this, is a man who has spoken very big on the gospel side, has been empowering youths from the time he started singing on the mic, and he has an opinion that we'd like to listen to today and see how he feels about gender-based violence. He goes by the name Exodus. How you doing, boss?
I'm great, man. What's up, bro?
Good.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that the youths face now is an imbalance in genders. There's they call it gender-based violence.
Oh yeah.
In the sense that Uganda occupies we have a larger female population, but the men seem to be taking away all
Dominant.
the opportunity.
Oh yeah.
They seem to be the dominant sex.
Yeah.
What's your take on gender-based violence?
Yeah, I think times have changed, to be very honest. Our grandparents way back looked at the woman as a weaker sex and that. But times have changed. We're in the 21st century. You understand? These women are very, very strong. And if they're given equal opportunity as men, they could actually do better, because women are mothers. Yeah. You understand? But let me talk it in a probably a political way. Yeah. If a woman is in a political position, you will realize there is little corruption. There is probably many more corruption, because these people are mothers. So to me, I think it is time we all balance it up. You understand? Men and women have equal opportunity, equal rights to everything. Education, whatever it is, men, we should balance everything. Yes.
I know. So some of those things that we need to discuss. What are the ways that women can change the perspective, the impression that they're not better than men? How can women? Let's start with the women. How can women change that impression, and how can the men be part of this fight?
It all goes back to opportunity and equal rights.
Yeah.
You understand? Because if they're not given the opportunity to express, if you're not given the opportunity to express who you are, people will not have the opportunity to know you for who you are. So my word is, we should open up the scopes, on a wider base, where we give everybody, not just male dominance, not just the boy child being dominant. We open up the scope for the genders to have equal rights. Yeah. If a woman is vying for a place of a political seat, you understand, let's give them equal opportunity as we give the men. Yeah. Because to me, women are actually, to be very honest, women, if are in leadership, you will get to a place where you understand that women are not corrupt. Yeah. Because they're mothers, you understand? So if we want to deal with the issue, most especially the issue of corruption in politics, you understand, we should give women equal rights as men to take office and do what they can do.
The conversation continues here on SKIZZY, and I would like to have a chat with one of the members, one of the leaders of the youth, the guys who have a voice in there, that have a lot of say in this topic, and one of the guys that I think would have something to say, especially to the young girls that love his music. topic. He goes by the name Waiki Bender. How you doing, boss?
I'm okay, man. How you doing?
Now, this is just a small snippet, just to understand one of the things, the plights of, the youth, Ugandan youth.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest topics that we discuss, especially here for the viewers, is gender-based violence, which basically means, we suffer from a society that puts men above women. We suffer from a society that says, you know what, men are the stronger sex, and women end up being, taking the back end of all the good opportunities that are around them. It doesn't have to be physical violence. It could be, men using their gender to be above the ladies, to get, if the ladies get paid, 8% of what a 10% would be for a guy, that kind of thing.
That's right.
So how do you feel about, especially the ladies, because this is one of the things that affects them deeply, how they want to compete. There's always these conversations about feminism, all these conversations about emancipation, especially for the ladies that are in school or have been in school.
Yeah.
What do you feel about this imbalance in our society?
Well, where I come from, that is Jericho, I was brought up in the system whereby, no doubt, a man is superior in a way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to job opportunities and, let's say, what a woman gets,
Yeah.
salary-wise,
Yeah.
it should be about how much hard work someone puts in.
Yeah.
Sex should never matter,
Yeah.
all right? That's what I think, because I think it's a fair thing. If the lady comes out today, and I don't want to talk about something I don't do, so I'm going to talk about music.
Yeah.
A lady comes out today, for example, Sheba, Lady Jasmine, and she's doing great music, you know?
Yeah.
There's no problem why she shouldn't earn as much as Waiki is earning.
Yeah.
If Waiki is also doing well anyway.
Yes.
Because it's about the music, it's about quality. She's giving you good work, pay for it.
I know.
Right.
One of the arguments, and I feel like this is my core argument, is that imagine if this is your daughter and she comes up in this world and she wants to compete with the different people out there, your daughter, your sister, your wife, anyone, any lady in your life that wants to compete fair enough in this world. There's things that we need to change. How would you change this imbalance? How would you create, an equal platform for both genders?
Yes, well, I think it begins right from school.
Yeah.
We need to do those sensitization, moves whereby you guys, the different people go out there in these schools and teach young, the easiest age to teach are those people in primary school.
Yeah.
You teach them how they're all equals.
Bring them up the way they
And back to the families as well. The parents have to preach the same gospel.
True.
And then when a guy or a chick, a lady grows up, she knows, she has the esteem to know that don't play with me.
Yeah.
She'll go for her own, And then the guy will also know that you have to pay respect to a woman.
Yeah.
And you have to know that if she has earned it, please pay up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Sensitization is the point for me.
Words from Waiki Ben, the two things: sensitize the youth, both the guys and the chicks. Chicks, go for what you want. The ladies, be in charge of your lives. And the guys need to put some respect on the ladies. Their grind is just as hard as yours.
Straight up.
Big ups here on SKIZZY. We're still covering the topic of gender-based violence. How can we end it? How can we make sure that our ladies get the respect that they deserve? How can we create a balance of the genders in our society? Let's keep going.